Batu Tara still erupting now?
Always.
Oh yes, always.
Never stop. Start from 2006.
Okay.
Until now. No. And normally all tuna fishing boats, they don't know, but where is the craters? Just the experienced people, they can. But this we use the boat. He already experienced with me.
Okay.
Very difficult to teach them because they're very scary, and then they explode, and then we get very close to landing.
But will we come back? You know, will we be alive?
Yeah.
East of Indonesia's popular tourist destinations of Bali and Lombok lies the lesser known and unspoilt island of Flores. North of here, like two tiny pinpricks in the Flores Sea, two remote and rarely visited islands rise from the ocean floor. Their names, Pulau Komba and Pulau Paluweh. What makes these two islands so unique is that both are dominated by virtually unknown active volcanoes, Komba's towering Batu Tara cone, which you see here, and Paluweh's burgeoning lava dome, Erumbola. In June 2013, with Indonesian volcano guide and expert Aris Yanto, we embarked on a mission to visit these two volcanoes to observe and report back on current volcanic activity. This is the true story of how that adventure unfolded.
And there's every 10 until 20 minutes, the land is like this. It's standing this and then your body
YouTube,
like this.
the guy who filmed it, and it's shaking all the time.
Yeah. And then after that, the volcanic have the activity.
Yeah.
But not eruption. It's just like a vibration, you know.
Yeah.
And then after that, rock fall.
Okay.
Now,
Even that you walk to the plane, you have to go through the
The flight number IW1820 with destination to Paluweh. The flight to Paluweh will be approximately 2 hours and this aircraft will be flying with a cruising altitude of 17,000 feet above sea level. We would like to inform you that this is a
Full of enthusiasm and with maybe just a little bit of intrepidation, we boarded our flights from Jakarta to Denpasar in Bali and then onwards to Maumere in Flores.
Completely stopped. We'll also inform you to be carefully to open overhead bin and please check your personal belongings.
From our small turboprop plane, we got fantastic views down to the islands, and as we approached Flores, we could see Palu'e smoking there, isolated in the middle of the sea. We arrived in Maumere on a warm, sunny evening. Unfortunately, our baggage didn't.
barang saya nggak turun. Barang bagasi batalin. Nanti kita mau rubah tanggalnya, jadi kita mundur. Lebih bagus. Nanti,
baik, ini
daripada ini kan kita sama
ya,
seperti kita ditipu, tahu nggak?
Ini
Yeah, the legit. Yeah, but this, you know, this because the group. Oh, this the important. This group compared than another. That's not good.
Why do you always laugh when something goes wrong?
Okay.
So what do we do? Do we overnight?
Sorry, no. We will looking the maybe hotel one here,
Okay.
and then tomorrow morning we will agree. We will keep all lodges. I hope because they try to bring from the pasar to Kupang, and then from Kupang to here today.
Cheers, Doc.
Cheers. It's the retrieval of lost luggage.
It's Monday morning. I'm very pleased to say that our luggage has arrived, so we're now en route to Labuan, from which we're going to get the boat over to Batu Tara. Conversation with Alice, landing on Batu Tara at night would be bad, and it's sort of a full day's boat ride over there, so the chances are we're likely to leave quite late at night, take the boat overnight, so we arrive on Batu Tara early in the morning.
When we told people where we're going, they just laughed. We pointed them at Google Earth, and the pointer was bigger than the island.
Yes.
Okay.
Normally fishermen, they're parking around here. Yeah. They never go from here. That is we must a landing. You can imagine this. The boat must be here. You know.
Okay. Yeah.
And we land here.
Right.
Yeah. You can imagine how to close from the rock fall.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
That looks fairly mad to me.
Yeah. Because it's in here they have the beach here, and possible to this is have the beach here, and then the normally fishermen if bad weather.
Oh, so this is where they go to get tuna normally.
Yeah.
So is there good fishing here for them?
Oh yeah, this in here is very deep.
Right.
You know. This 3,000 meters.
Okay.
Because the high rail of the high mountain is 3,600.
But 3,000 is below
under
sea level, isn't it?
Yeah. But it's only 700.
Okay, so on this side where the rock falls out, this is more shallow, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We arrived at Labuan at about lunchtime, and the idea was we were going to jump straight on the boat and go out. Realised that if we did so, we'd arrive at about 10 o'clock at night and it would be dark, and landing in the dark wouldn't be much fun. So we've elected to take the boat at about 4 o'clock in the morning, so we arrived just at daylight. It was a great idea, and given what's going on outside at the moment, I think we're probably quite relieved that we're not on the boat at the moment. So hopefully this lot will rain itself out by the morning.
Shut up.
It's 5 o'clock in the morning. We're just waiting for our transport to turn up to take us down to the harbour. Got our supplies. Doesn't look like we're going to go short of water for a day or two, and then we'll be off to Batu Tara. We waited at the small docks at Labuan for our boat to arrive, which, unsurprisingly, was late. As we waited, dawn broke, the sun rose over a beautiful, calm bay. Our presence had not gone unnoticed, and one chap, spotting the guitar that I'd borrowed from Christoph, decided it was time to entertain us. Not before time, our boat arrived, a very well-travelled tuna fishing boat. We soon boarded and were on our way to Batu Tara.
Well, here we are. We've finally set sail for Pulau Komba after our boat being only a mere 2 hours late. We've cloud in the sky, but it looks okay, better than yesterday. Should take us about somewhere between 6 and 8 hours to get to Pulau Komba, to Batu Tara, at which point we'll launch this canoe here and land on the island. That's the plan anyway, and we'll take it from there. Let the adventure begin.
After several uncomfortable hours at sea, the lone island of Pulau Komba came into sight. As we got closer, you could see periodic emissions of ash from its summit, the result of eruptions from its volcano, Batu Tara. We sailed around to the far side of the island, from which we were hoping to view the volcano. We weren't disappointed. In front of us was a huge cone of volcanic ash, reaching from the crater high above all the way down into the sea. Every 5 or 10 minutes there'd be an explosion at the summit, projecting rock and ash down the slope. Our small canoe was lowered into the water and Aris climbed in along with a bag full of provisions. He attempted to land on the small rocky beach down by the base of the ash cone, but the sea was far rougher than it looked, with a heavy swell and a strong undertow. Within seconds, the canoe had turned over. Aris's bag was adrift and Aris was in danger. The canoe and the equipment was soon recovered, leaving Aris stranded on the shoreline. Thankfully, he's a strong swimmer, and he very bravely swam back to the boat. We spent some considerable time on the boat, watching the volcano and deliberating whether it was wise to make another attempt to land on the island. As we watched, we got the opportunity to watch numerous explosions from the top crater, each time incandescent material flowing all the way down to the sea. Once darkness had fallen, we decided to go round to the far side of the island, where we would be in the lee of the wind. Here we would overnight on the boat before making another attempt to land in the morning.
Today we set sail about an hour and a half later than planned. We sailed as far as Batu Tara, which took about 3 hours longer than planned. We failed to land on the beach at Batu Tara. Thankfully nobody drowned, nor did we lose any kit, and Aris is still laughing because he's slightly crazy.
Much to our surprise, as dawn broke, we realised that we were not alone. A small group from the Bajo tribe had come to the island to fish and had set up camp on the southern, leeward side of the island. The Bajo's command of the sea is really quite astonishing. We learnt that they come to Pulau Komba most years. They travel in small wooden boats with no modern navigation, just navigating by the stars, and stay for about 2 months at a time, collecting fish, drying them, and then they'll return to their homeland for just a week or two before coming back to fish.
We've just spent the roughest night I think I've ever spent on a boat. It's been a heavy swell all night and we're absolutely knackered, so we've had virtually no sleep. But Aris is very tenacious, So we've sailed around the island, looked at another couple of possible landing places to get onto the island, and the sea's been really, really rough. So plan B, we've just sailed round to the other side of the island to a bay where it's a bit quieter, so we've paddled the canoe out to the beach, and now we're having lunch in between getting rained on by rain and rained on by volcanic ash.
We explored the island and looked for accessible routes round to the side where the active volcano was, but there was really nothing to be found, nothing that was accessible much beyond the beach. We decided to get back on the boat and we sailed round to Batu Tara to have a look at the sea state and see whether landing was a possibility. If anything, the sea was rougher than it had been the previous night, and cloud was starting to come down and just envelop the summit of the island. All the time the eruption was ongoing, with regular explosions and rockfalls coming down into the sea.
You can't see it? What do we do now?
No option, we must come back. Because for landing also not possible, very not possible.
But we're back to Labuan now?
Yeah.
We bid farewell to the Baju, giving them a few basic provisions before heading back to the mainland. And although we hadn't managed to land on Batu Tara, we had managed to see the volcano pretty close up. As we sailed away from Batu Tara, large ash clouds could still be seen, rising high into the evening sky. The eruption was still ongoing.
I would say we're on our way home, but we're not going home, are we? We're going to Labuan. We've left Batu Tara. It was too rough to land on the island tonight, so we basically decided we'd cut our losses, head back to the mainland, as much as there is the mainland. So on the boat, we're making really good time. It's nice and clear, which is sound. Having a couple of in-tank. The cloud had come down over Batu Tara as well, so you couldn't really see what was going on. So we've been sitting here, say, having a couple of beers, a little game of boats, which was quite good fun. Probably not everybody's cup of tea, but it does do the tuna fishing trade a little bit of courtesy. We'll probably be back at Labuan before midnight, and tomorrow I expect we'll head over to Paluweh.
Di sini beda-beda sifat. Ada yang setiap hari, setiap jam.
We drove west along the Flores coast road, along streets lined with bustling market stalls, full of bright colours and marvellous smells. Eventually we got to a point where we could see out across the sea over to Palu'e volcano.
Volcano is very clear from here.
Okay.
And then now it's very darkness. I think I have a lot of ashes there.
Oh, you think the dark
Come from the
here is ash coming down in front of the island?
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, you can see, compare that to another island, a small one.
Actually, in my
So you think the ash is coming towards us?
Yeah.
Okay.
We continued on towards Roper village, stopping at a refugee camp, from where we were destined to get the boat over to Palu'e Island. The inhabitants of the refugee camp were people that had been evacuated from the island.
We're currently in the refugee camp just outside of Ropa village. Behind me is Palu'e volcano. Aris has met up with a friend of his and he's just getting some petrol for the boat so he can go over and take a look and see what the volcano's doing. You can hear every 5 minutes or so big bangs from the lava dome erupting. It's quite a sobering place really. It'll be interesting to see what's actually happening on the volcano and see some of the islands, the abandoned villages and things like that.
With the help of our guide and interpreter, Christoph, we tried to find out a little bit more about the plight of the islanders.
Yeah, it's like 150 people stay here.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like that.
How long have they been here?
Sorry?
How long have they been here?
Sudah berapa lama tinggal sini? Sudah mau masuk 7 bulan ini. It is 7 months until now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's there really so sad. I look like that.
Yeah.
Because they start at 6 for June.
Yeah.
June for last year, they start to grow it for the volcano. Kasih lahan untuk sementara. Mereka pemerintah bilang sementara saja karena tinggal di kemah juga susah, banyak orang. He says like the government give some land and then the stays, yeah, not a long time, but just like this enough time to, yeah, you know that.
Yeah. So you can get on with life.
Yeah. Just to make some small house. Yeah, not to give.
So do the government give the materials for the house as well?
Yeah. Yang ini kan bantu dari pemerintah kan masih yang apa semua. Yeah. Ini dari Caritas punya, Mamere punya. This is from missionaries.
Oh, okay, from the church.
Yeah, from the church. Yeah, from the church.
Catholic.
Yeah, that's Catholic. Yeah.
Okay. The two camps, are they basically from different villages on the island or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Different.
Okay.
I have a lot over there still, because it's almost 8,000 people already evacuated.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
It's as many as
But
that.
some they not living in the camp. They join with the family.
Okay.
Yeah.
8,000.
Yeah. Total population is almost 12,000, but still have some in the east side.
There's some people still living on Paluweh.
Yeah, because they don't care what happened with the volcano. They don't want to evacuate. They will stay, live or die.
Yeah.
They say, same like in Merapi, you know.
Yeah.
Because they believe with Maria.
As we waited at the camp for our boat to arrive, Aris engaged with some of the children, handing out a few small cakes. The tension within the camp was all too apparent.
Di bagian barat itu semua orang mengungsi.
As Aris continued to discuss with them our plans to visit the volcano, to view it and to report back, we were introduced to one of the newer members of the refugee camp.
Oh, sweet.
It's sweet.
Sweet.
After a long and slightly unnerving wait at the refugee camp, our boat eventually arrived. We loaded up and soon set sail.
If I'd realised it was this type of boat, I would have got that differently.
Paluweh volcano was located to the southern end of the island. To the north of the island were one or two small villages where few inhabitants had remained. Our plan was to head to these. We arrived at the village and were welcomed by the locals. Aris spent some time explaining to them a little bit about the volcano and what our intentions are, to go, view, observe and report back. Our white skin hadn't gone unnoticed. Arguably, some of the locals thought we were more interesting than Aris.
Ini kalau dia sudah cukup tekan dia hantam semua, habis ini atasnya. Dia bongkar semua. Karena dia seperti orang buang isi perut itu. They're coming out and then because they will fall like this. Yeah. Yeah. And then they come all this very quickly because it's the character of the volcanic. It will very quickly change as rock here. Yeah. And then after they know they close this and then boom, and then start again. Yeah.
We've started to climb Paluweh volcano. We started off at about 10 o'clock at night, so obviously in the pitch dark, trying to climb up to the active lava dome. Because it's really cloudy, it's actually been quite hard going, and what we've found is we've got so far about 200 metres altitude from where we need to be, less than a kilometre from the site where we can view the lava dome. And the path appears to have washed away and there's no way of getting down it, so we have to find a new path. Unfortunately we can't do that at night because it's too difficult in the dark, so we're setting up camp here for the night and we'll carry on in the morning. The wind does appear to have changed direction, so it's raining volcanic ash on us at the moment, so it's impossible to see anything other than our little camp which you can see behind me. And hopefully we'll have a cosy few hours here and be able to see our way on in the morning and cut a new path up to the active lava dome and see what's going on.
Because it's normally we stop there.
Okay.
And then explore and then we say, oh, we go. And then we go.
Right.
Because you can see the dome from there.
Okay.
But not now.
So we just have to wait till morning to see what we can do. Can't see anything in this ash anyway. Impossible. But it's actually cleared a little bit, hasn't it?
It has, yeah.
Bulan Desember saya sana itu, saya camp di atas itu, depan muka gunung itu, mandi debu, mandi pasir.
Life at camp, can't beat it.
Mandi debu, mandi
I
pasir.
do love camping.
Good morning.
Good morning. But it's cloudy again. Oh la la.
It was clear during the night. That's why it was cold.
Oh yeah?
So cold.
Yeah, because cloudy and everywhere.
Yeah.
No windy. That is why that's
So Sunday morning, and we've just had a really very restless night camping part way up towards the Paluweh lava dome. Partly because the ground's really lumpy, partly because it's actually quite cold and windy, but also kept being woken up by earth tremors. The earth tremors are amazing. Unlike a tectonic tremor which just sort of vibrates, the whole ground is shifting by maybe 3 or 4 inches. And these are happening every sort of 10-20 minutes, often a big quake and then 2 or 3 smaller sort of little aftershocks. At the moment the clouds come down, which is a bit of a pain, but there are sort of few signs that hopefully it will clear up. I can see the sun now, so we'll see how the rest of the day pans out.
After an hour or so of difficult thrashing through undergrowth, we eventually managed to cut a new path that broke out onto the summits.
Wow, this is it. This is the lava dome at Paluweh. We've made it up here. At the moment it's clear, we're just trying to get a good view before the cloud comes down and assess the situation. So we want to make sure that it's safe, that we can stay here. Yeah, it's an amazing thing. It's still steaming and glowing. Apparently it's doubled in size since Alice was here in February. So we're just going to wait here for a while and watch and observe and hope that it's safe. So apparently this fissure down below is also new.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It looks new.
Yeah.
At a hopefully safe viewpoint, we set up a makeshift camp from which we could explore some of the summit area and watch the lava dome. Every maybe 15 or 20 minutes there would be a big explosion from the far side of the lava dome. This would be accompanied by a large earthquake, many of which were so strong that you couldn't even stand up.
Oh, yeah.
Immediately after the explosion, you'd get a big gas cloud come up and you would see rocks falling, going down the far side, down the southern flanks of the lava dome, down towards the sea.
What do you reckon?
It's chuffing awesome. Oh, we haven't got one.
It's like standing on a jelly.
Oh, look at the ash.
Look at the ash from that.
Waktu bulan November itu sudah ada kayak gitu.
Wow.
Don't want to be standing too near the edge, do you really?
That is real, you know.
Oh, it's real.
That's really nice.
This always will be upper scale in the seismic
Yeah.
basin.
About December 22.
December they explode.
Okay.
Explode, and then after that, during this time, they make pyroclastic flow.
Okay. And that's when they evacuated people, was it?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
From our makeshift summit camp, we watched and observed, and we watched and we watched, and we watched some more, until darkness fell and we could see the lava dome glowing against the night sky. As seems to be typical for these adventures, as night time came, so did the cloud. We decided our best bet was to head back down to the village, so we made the long trek down the slopes and along the coastline. The following morning, Aris woke us. He was very keen to show us what he'd found in his shoe, a highly venomous sea snake. Aris released the snake into the sea and we headed back to the mainland, towards our final stop, the Volcano observatory. In Roper village, back on the Flores mainland, is a small, humble volcano observatory. We called in there to let them know of our findings. Okay, so these are the big tremors that we feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a quake with a rock fall.
Yeah. Okay.
Big one with upper scale.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And small one, maybe just what's like a rock fall, and maybe the lava intrude the dome, the
Yeah.
lava dome, and become unstable and rock fall again.
Okay. Do we know how deep the earthquake is? What
I
depth?
don't know exactly, because I just have one instrument.
Okay. So you just know the level.
Should be there are 3 seismometer.
Yeah.
We call this one the pyroclastic flow.
Yeah.
The last pyroclastic flow about April 29. April 29.
Okay.
But up to now, we not monitor like this.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Just emission gas.
Because this is the Europa tender dome, the old one, isn't it? This new one. And there's also a fissure opened up between down from here. There is yeah. So we did not go down there.
High risk.
Yes, indeed. So Aris thinks this is new. I don't know.
The fissure looks new.
It looks new.
Yeah. It was difficult to tell if the staff at the Volcano Observatory shared our viewpoint of the state of Paluweh volcano, but a new seismic swarm had happened at Mount Sinabung, and limited resources, they'd been called there to investigate and advise of the danger levels elsewhere.
5 meters.
Yeah, maybe 5 meters across. Big fissure. Big crack in the ground.
After a fascinating but exhausting 2 weeks observing some of the world's most remote volcanoes, we packed our bags and headed home, leaving behind us distant views of Paluweh volcano.
Sadly, just 2 months later on Paluweh Island, a tragedy occurred. In the early morning of the 10th of August 2013, the Rerombola lava dome erupted violently, hurling ash and huge rocks into the air. A large pyroclastic flow raced towards Rokirola village, killing 3 adults and 3 children who had been sleeping on the beach. The friendly one, or best friend as the locals call the Rerombola lava dome, had showed its more sinister side.
That's what happens when you pack your camera up, Alice.